Hi, in this video we will traverse this nested list structure taking even elements only using a single loop. This structure gives itself to traversal by nested loops, but here we will go for a single loop without creating a copy. If we are familiar with the iterator concept of Java, we might be tempted to write something like this. Class list of list iterator. Just create in the constructor, take the list of lists, LOL equals to LOL, and create the two loop variables, initialize them to 0 for now. And since we are trying to mimic the Java iterator interface, we will need two methods. One will be checking if there is a next element. Let's just return false for now. And the other one is actually going to return the next element. Let's start implementing with the second one because this is more straightforward. Create a new variable and pop the next element based on the indexes selected in this object. So LOL, I and J. I put this into a separate statement because we will have to increment J after we did the read, and then we can return the result. Now what remains is implementing the second method, which is hasNext. This is going to be more complicated because this is going to hide the filtering and the flattening. So let's start with a loop. I will check if the ith variable is still within bounds of the array, the outer list, then deal with the inner list. If self j is within bounds of the currently selected inner list, which is LOL self I, then we can do the filtering. If self LOL self I and self j modulo by 2 equals to 0. So if it's even, then we can return true. We indeed have the next number as an even number from this list. Otherwise, we skip to the next element, which is to say increment a j iterator variable. If, however, this loop finishes without finding an even element, we need to increment I. So let's do that here. But when we do that, we will also need to reset j so that we start from the beginning of the next list. And here it is. We are ready to test our concept. We are going to create an instance of this list of list iterator and pass in the list of lists and build a loop hasNext. While it hasNext, let's just print it for now. And here we go. Only the even elements from this list. As you can see, there's plenty of repeats and odd elements also in this list. Now, this is not looking very simple. If you are coming from the Python world or you're more familiar with it, you might be tempted to take a different approach, which is to say, let's start with a nested for loop for inner list in list of lists, and then within this inner list for element in the inner list. If element divided by 2 has a 0 modulus, which is to say it is even, then we might as well print this element, which is going to give us supposedly the same exact result as we have seen. Yes, it does. But this is not a single loop, which was one of the conditions. Now here comes the magic of Python, the yield keyword, which can turn a method into an iterator. So let's do that. I will just call it itLOL, and it receives the list of lists. And let's rename this variable. And the only difference here is that it doesn't process the element, but instead it yields it. Now This method returns an iterator that is going to iterate over LOL. How we use this? It is actually very simple. We can put it straight into a loop for even in it lol and pass in the list of lists, and this is all we have to do, supposedly. Let's run it, and here we go. It is the same exact result. This is the true Pythonic way of processing it and hiding all the logic, and the benefit is that it is actually way more readable and easier to reason about than the flattening of the iterator based on the Java interface. Thank you very much for watching. This is it for today. See you next time.